everyone, welcome back. My name is Kiauna Canada and I'm with the Walla Walla YMCA Children's Development Department. Today we're going to be reading one of my favorite books from when I was a kid. It's called Verdi. It's a story about, I believe he's an emerald tree boa. Let's get started. On a small tropical island, the sun rose high above the steamy jungle. A mother python was sending her hatchlings out into the forest the way all mother pythons do. Grow up big and green as the tree's leaves, she called to her little yellow babies as they happily scattered amongst the trees. But Verdi dawdled. He was proudly eyeing his bright yellow skin. He especially liked the bold stripes that zigzagged down his back. Why the hurry to grow up big and green, he wondered. Maybe some of the older snakes in the jungle could tell him. Verdi ventured into the treetops to look for them. Umbles, Aggie, and Ribbon were lazing on some branches nearby. Verdi peered at their droopy green bodies. It's not polite to stare, chided Aggie. Umbles burped and groaned. It's taken nearly 4 weeks for that last lizard to digest. I surely do like lizards, but lizards don't like me. Why don't lizards like you? Asked Verdi. Don't interrupt, Umbles grumbled. Dear me, whined Aggie. If I don't shed this soon, this itchy skin will drive me bananas. Verdi tapped a tune with his tail as he waited patiently to speak. Stop that, Verdi. It makes me nervous, Ribbon complained. Besides, you'll never grow up to be properly green, always interrupting and constantly fidgeting. Verdi couldn't imagine being in such a hurry to look like them. And he really wanted to keep his sporty stripes. Hoping to find snakes that weren't so boring, Verdi slipped away. Dozer was snoring in a tree not far from the others. Hello, said Verdi. Do you want to climb trees with me? I'm tired, Dozer growled. Go do a few laps around the jungle, okay? Verdi's heart sank. Greens were not only lazy and boring, they were rude, too. At the top of a very tall tree, Verdi gripped one branch with his tail and another with his little snake jaws. I will never be lazy, boring, or green, he thought. I will jump and climb and keep moving so fast that I will stay yellow and striped forever. Then Verdi let go. Whoosh! He let go and he shot off. And when he was in the sky, he made a spiral shape. The other snakes can see him in the air. From a distance, the greens watched. Oh my, they chorused. Ribbon shook his head. At this rate, he'll be lucky to make it to his first molt. Aggie nodded. He's likely to put an eye out on a branch. Umbles moaned. He may not live to turn green. But one day, Verdi's skin began to peel, revealing a pale green stripe stretching along his whole body. Cack, he gasped. How can this be? I'm the speediest snake in the jungle, and I'm still turning green? He raced down to the river, grabbing up a mouthful of rough leaves. Verdi flung himself into the water. If I can't run this green off, I'll scrub it off, he thought. He's got all the leaves in his mouth, and he's trying to scrub real hard to get the green off. Uh-oh. There's a fish. And there's Verdi. I wonder what he looks like to the fish. His frantic splashing caught the eye of a large bottom feeder, cruising the murky depths. Yum, the old fish hummed. Lunch. Before the fish could haul Verdi under, The frightened snake bit him on the nose. Apoo! With a blast of his rubbery lips, the great fish sneezed, sending Verdi into the air. He slapped onto the soggy shore. Verdi skidded out of reach. He bit the fish's nose, and the fish had to sneeze. Here. He sneezed, and whew, Verdi flew. Whew, that was close, he sputtered. Every inch of his body was covered with wet, gloppy mud. Kind of lumpy, kind of brown, but it sure beats being green. He left the mud on. Now he's a brown snake. But the soft brown muck dried into a hard gray shell, and Verdi could barely move. If he even budged, the stuff cracked off in jagged chunks. As each piece fell away, Verdi could see that his body was even greener than before. "This is terrible!" cried Verdi. He pictured himself hanging around in droopy loops, itching and complaining and worrying all day like the old greens. He looked up into the sky where the sun blazed a beautiful yellow, just the color he used to be. Then he pulled a vine to the top of the tree. But the soft brown muck dried into a hard gray shell, and Verdi could barely move. If he even budged, the stuff cracked off in jagged chunks. As each piece fell away, Verdi could see that his body was even greener than before. "This is terrible!" cried Verdi. He pictured himself hanging around in droopy loops, itching and complaining and worrying all day, like all the old greens. He looked up into the sky, where the sun blazed a beautiful yellow, just the color he used to be. Then he pulled a vine to the top of the tree. Launching himself from the treetop, Verdi startled a flock of colorful birds. He became dizzy with delight, sure the bright sun and his lofty speed would turn him golden again. In his joy, Verdi forgot he would fall back to earth. Wow, he shot so high, look. There's a colorful parrot up here. He must have scared him, he launched so high in the air. Whippity whappity whip whop wham! Plummeting through the trees, Verdi landed in a crooked sprawl across a log on the forest floor. He couldn't move. "Help!" he croaked. Uh-oh. That looks like it probably hurt, huh? He fell from somewhere and hurt himself. As usual, the greens had been watching Verdi's antics. They moved quickly to where he lay. "Didn't we say it would come to this?" Umbles said, shaking his head. Aggie agreed. "Lucky thing he's still got two good eyes." They gently lifted Verdi up to a safer place where they would watch over him until he healed. So even though the green snakes, Verdi thinks that they're kind of rude, they're still being good friends and helping him when he's hurt. That's nice. Neatly splinted to a branch, Verdi had no choice but to listen to the greens as they gabbed. "Remember how I used to streak across the forest floor?" Ribbon asked. "Quick as lightning," Aggie agreed. "And I climbed giant trees like they were nothing. They grew taller then, you know." "The things I dared to run down and swallow," Umbles bragged. "Wild boar were no match for me." Verdi was astonished. "You used to run and climb and hunt giant pigs? What happened?" "Ribbon crashed, just like you," Aggie replied. "I took a terrible fall and almost put my eye out. Then old Umbles here nearly choked to death. Now we all prefer the quiet life. A warm perch, a little sunshine, and an occasional good meal." The greens rambled on about their days of glory, and Verdi settled in on his branch. Finally, One afternoon, Umbles said, "Looks like you're all ready to go again." He carefully untied Verdi from the branch. "You're welcome to come with us," said Aggie. Ribbon agreed. The three greens slipped quietly back into the forest. Verdi wasn't ready to join them. He wasn't sure he wanted to go, so he just stretched and stayed put until the sun went down. He listened to the forest come alive. Time passed. The sun and moon took turns in the sky. Verdi marveled as the full moon grew thinner every night. Then he watched patiently as it slowly grew round again. He wondered why he hadn't noticed that before. Verdi became so green that he blended perfectly with the leaves. He was so still that other creatures walked right by without seeing him. Wow, look. There's Verdi, all camouflaged, hiding in the green leaves with his body. And here, looks like a sugar glider. It's almost kind of like a flying squirrel, kind of. They're really cute. Sugar gliders. Walking right past him without him even noticing. One fine morning, as Verdi basked in the sunshine, two small yellow snakes approached. They tapped and fidgeted as they stared. "Get a load of that old green guy," one of them whispered. "Do you think he ever moves?" The others snickered. "I seriously doubt it." "They're just like I used to be," thought Verdi. "And I'm now what I was afraid to be." He looked at his big green body and slowly smiled. "How would you like to climb trees with me?" he asked. "With you?" The yellows were astonished. "I'll even show you my fancy figure eight," Verdi replied, though he was a little worried about putting his eye out. With practice, the three snakes performed a perfect triple figure eight. Leaping and looping with his little striped friends, Verdi laughed. "I may be big and very green, but I'm still me." So, in this story, Verdi, this little yellow guy here that we just watched, what happens to him? He's a little bit scared about things changing as he grows up. So in this case, Verdi's scared about becoming big and green. It's scary. It's something new to him. But in the last page, when he encounters some other little friends that are like him, or second to last page, he realizes that he can still be himself. Even though he's big and green and he's changed, inside he's still the same little yellow snake. I hope you all really enjoyed reading this book with me, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!